Doing today. This will be our first video in a series that we're going to be doing for this year. We are planning on planting our largest pepper crop ever. We will hopefully be planting 1,000 plus peppers. Now that'll be around half sweet peppers and half hot peppers slash insanely hot peppers. We call insanely hot peppers anything above a traditional habanero. A traditional habanero is your orange habanero. They range from 150 to 300,000 Schofield on them. Usually they're around 225, 250. So we consider that hot. Absolutely, that's a hot pepper. But anything hotter than that, we consider insane. Super hots would start a little hotter than what we would call insane. Super hot peppers is something that's going to start, in my opinion, around 650 to 750,000 Schofield. Our most popular super hot is going to be something in the neighborhood of an Apocalypse Scorpion, or a Yellow Trinidad Scorpion, or even a Yellow Moruga Scorpion. And then of course we have, regular Morugas and ghost peppers and everything else. We grow a lot of hot peppers. We enjoy using them. But anyway, let's get on to what we're doing here today. Right now, I want to show you up potting your peppers. Now you can do this in multiple stages. You can go from, we start in a 200 cell tray. So this is 10 by 20. So I've got 10 peppers across this way and 20 down this way. And you can up pot these as many times as you want. We only do one time. I don't have the time to do this on multiple pulls. So we up pot them from our starter tray to where they're going to live until they go in the ground or they are sold. We sell a lot of peppers through our website. It's a differentchickfarm.com, or through our Etsy store. I'll get Tiffany to link both of those below. So if you're interested, if you don't grow your peppers and you want to buy from us, we're glad to sell. My disclaimer is some of our peppers plants are started from open pollinated seeds that are not isolated. Now that's not all of them. That's just some of them. So there's always that chance you get a crossed pepper plant. We enjoy that. Don't get too many a year. Last year we grew 500-600 plants, something like that, 480 to 500 plants, and I think we ended up with 5 or 6 crossed plants out of all of that. So, and 3 of those wasn't even from our seeds; they were from someone else's seeds. Big company too, as a matter of fact. I won't mention no names, but we had 3 that was from someone else's seeds. And the same type of seed, as a matter of fact, was where those 3 came from. They produced 2 different types of peppers from one type of seeds, and none of them were what they were supposed to be. But we all really enjoyed these peppers. They were awesome. We eat a lot of them and sold a lot of them this year. Now, we grow for ourselves. We do sauce, hot sauce, salsa. So you're probably not going to be doing 1,000 to 1,200 pepper plants. Our end goal in a few years is to be doing a couple of thousand pepper plants. We sell fresh pods also, and so on and so forth, seeds and dried pepper pods. We do a lot. So what we're doing here is up potting. Now you up pot after you get your true leaves on your pepper plants. You don't want these to get root bound. You want to make sure not to stunt the growth of your peppers. Same thing of a tomato. You don't want to stunt it. That can stunt it for the whole season. It may produce, but it may not produce well because you hurt it in what it was doing. So we want to get these transplanted. I probably would have done this tray and another tray that I have probably about 5 days ago, but haven't had time. We have passed the coronavirus around like most families have, and while we were over the contagious period as of Monday or Tuesday of this week. Tuesday. We were not recovered 100%. Energy levels wasn't there. We're still not 100% back, but we're working at 85%. So with a farm, life goes on. You can't stop just because you're sick. I worked through the whole virus. One day was really slow on what I did. I mean, because I was really lacking in energy. But I've worked through the whole virus. So, okay, on to our up potting, because this is what we're here for. I've already got me laid out 5 trays. These trays hold 32 apiece. So if you do the math on that, 5 times 32 is 160. So, this tray does not have probably 160 in it, so I'll probably get this whole tray in those 5. Now, it would have had 160 if they'd all germinated, but I've got a couple of varieties that have been a little bit lackluster. Not too bad. My Apocalypse Scorpion, I've got a 70%, no, technically an 80% germination on. And I've got Chocolate 7 pots that are still coming up very slowly, and that's pretty common for them. 7 pots are a little slower to germinate for me. And then my Yellow Trinidad Scorpion, I used some old seeds on these, and on the Scorpions from probably 2 years ago. And I've got only a 30% germination on those, so you know that seed's just not well. And then I've got all the rest of them probably have anywhere from 0 that didn't germinate. Some of them are 100%, to most of them probably had 20% that didn't germinate, so 80% germination. I'm happy with the 80% germination. If you stretch that on out and did a batch of 50 seeds, it's probably more like an 85-90% germination. As I found with my Apocalypse Scorpions, I've already sowed a second crop of them, a second tray of them, and the Apocalypse are about 90% germination on that second batch. So that's averaging out to an 85% germination between 20 seeds. I sow 1 seed per tray, per hole. That's because the seeds sometimes are expensive and hard to get a hold of. Some of the varieties we have, really hard to get seeds. I've got seeds that we've had shipped from across the ocean, and some of this stuff on especially the hot peppers, is hard to come by. This tray is mostly common stuff, or stuff that's common enough that we've been growing it for 3 or 4 years. You know, Chocolate Ghost, we've been growing those for a couple of 3 years, 2 years I think. Yellow Trinidad Scorpions, I've been growing those for several years. The Red Trinidad Scorpions, that one's actually was new for me last year. We had them the year before, but we didn't plant them. So that was new for me last year. And I only had actually 1 plant that we ended up in the garden. I ended up selling the rest by mistake. Anaheims, that's a mild hot pepper. Anaheims are real popular. They're great for stuffing, great for frying, great for grilling. Anaheims are real good all-around pepper. And then new for us this year is the Big Jim. And that's not our seeds, and germination has been spotty. I've only got a 50% germination on those right now. Now, I don't blame that necessarily on the company, because sometimes it can be your exact setup. Obviously, the ideal situation would be to grow a whole tray of one type of pepper, because each one of the varieties germinate at a different time, and we germinate in it's a homemade germination chamber. I've got a video on that if you want to look at my videos. I'll try to remember to link that below. But we've got a homemade germination chamber, and obviously some of these have to come out quicker because they germinate quicker. So once they germinate, they come out of the germination chamber because they got to have sunlight immediately, and the germination chamber does not have sunlight. So we bring them out and put them under artificial light. We got a video on that also. I'll be doing a new one here on that just shortly. We're setting up a new germination room. So when the first ones germinate, we usually bring them out of the germination chamber when we got between 5 or 10 that's germinated. Well, that's only somewhere between 2 to 5% of the tray. So the rest of these are germinating on a heat mat, and that changes time frame. So the better you are at your germination, the better you'll have. So I don't blame the company on having a 50% germination on those Big Jims. It could have been timing on my part that caused that 50% germination. Now I will sow them again. I did already actually yesterday sowed 40 more plants. Big Jim is I'm not sure if it's the world record holder for size of hot pepper, but it is huge. So it's a pretty popular plant. And then we got poblanos. Poblanos, of course, if you've been around hot peppers, any of those, that's a lot of people call them ancho poblanos because that's what they do when they cook them. They're called ancho peppers. And then we got lemon spice jalapenos. We grow somewhere around a dozen varieties of jalapenos. Lemon spice is one of them. And we got the Korean dark greens in here. That's a new one for us. Hungarian black, or black Hungarian. That one we grew last year for the first time and loved it. It's a mild hot jalapeno type pepper, but they're black. Smaller than a regular jalapeno, but they're delicious. And we got Trinidad Congos. I grew that for the first time last year, and I've actually got 100% germination on the Trinidad Congos. That was a great pepper for us last year. They're huge habanero types, and they're just great. And the West Indies red habanero, that was a massive producer for us last year, and I have 100% germination on that also. Puma peppers, I think Baker Creek originally called that a pimenta puma. This year they've labeled it just Puma, and I think that's what everybody pretty much calls it, as a Puma pepper. We have about a 90% germination on the Puma peppers, so that's excellent. The Korean dark greens were 100% germination. My black Hungarian looks like I got 90%. Other one may still come up. My chocolate ghost is 100%. If you know anything about that, that is excellent. And I've got 100% germination on my Jamaican Scotch bonnets. I've got 100% on my Ahi Golds. Really enjoyed that pepper. I love that one fresh with Mexican food. Our blended lemon, that's a new one for us. And I got 100% germination. I've got 15 of 15 that came up. And I can't pronounce this one. It's I wish I spoke Spanish. El Oro de Ecuador. And I have a 90% germination on that. And an Ahi Valle de Conca. I'm sure I butchered that. I have a 80% germination on that one at this point. So Jay's Peach Ghost, I've got 70%, but some of the other ones may come up. They were slow germination, and they're still coming up each week, so those still have a little ways to go. They haven't even started their true leaves yet on those. That's how far they are behind on the rest of these on their germination. So I'm going to get some of these bigger ones out of here so I can focus the heat a little better and get these up potted and moving on to where they're going to be in the garden. Now I'm going to try to make this video 30 minutes, so we got about 18 minutes to play with here. So we use a high quality potting soil. This bag ain't cut off to hide the name. This bag is cut off because we cut it off to make it easier to get in. This is Daddy Pete's organic potting soil. We sell that here at the farm, but any real good quality potting soil will work. And I fill my container 2/3 of the way full. You don't need fancy tools for this, for popping out plugs. There's a million ways to do it. I use a knife. This is just a case pocket knife. And I already have tags pre-made up for my blended lemon. And just so you know, we use a Sharpie Industrial. Per Sharpie, this is their most permanent marker. They've got a lot of other ones, but this is supposed to be the most permanent. And we went back to wood tags last year. I don't like them. The water fades out the writing quicker than it fades out on these, and the wooden tags rot before the year is over. These, at least you can pull them up and rewrite them. And that's kind of an unwritten rule on the farm, is if you see a faded tag, fix it. So I've got my blended lemon ready to go, and I've got my lemon jalapeno tags ready to go, and I've got my, Alyssa might be able to pronounce that better than me.
El Oro de Ecuador.
Hey, I got that one right. Let's see what she says on the other one, because I'm sure I butchered this.
Ahi Valle de Conco.
I didn't do too bad. I thought I just destroyed them, so I come pretty close. Okay, so knife, tray. I'm going to bring it down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing instead of me. After all, this is about what I'm doing, not me. So, we'll stick the knife in. I like the soil to be moist when I do this because it comes out better. As you can see, we got some nice root growth going on here. And I'm going to put just a little bit more soil in that. This plug isn't as deep as I thought it was going to be. Take my finger and put a little hole in the middle. And then firm it in just a little bit. I'm not wanting to compact the soil, but I don't want the soil to be loose either. Now this is a good quality potting mix, so it's got plenty of stuff in there to keep it from compacting. If you got just a plain old topsoil, that can compact really, really badly for you. And then you don't get water penetration, you don't get good root growth. It can really cause problems. So use quality soil. I mean, you know. And I prefer organic. I don't want chemicals in my food. So there's what we look like. Now, you might look at that and go, hey, you're missing something. And I am. I am missing my label. Now, we stick the label right to the back, so when you look at the plant, you can see what it says. So that's a lemon jalapeno. So I will stick that in the back of my tray. And I've got 8 lemon jalapenos. So that's 2 rolls. So I'll skip a roll because I don't want y'all to sit here through all of this. And so now I'm going to get my pot. And I'm going to put it in my potting soil again. Tamp it down just a little bit. And back to my fancy knife. Now I'm going to move down here to the end and get a blended lemon. And I ain't picky on which one it is. As long as it's got its true leaves, I'm going to go ahead and bring it out of there. And as you can see, I already had roots growing out the bottom of the tray. So this is why it's important to transplant and up pot, because you don't want to stunt these. So I just take my finger, poke a hole in the middle of my potting mix, drop my little plug in. I'm going to add just a little bit of soil to that. And then don't forget that important step. You'll hate yourself if you forget this. We always, it's regardless, we do thousands and thousands and thousands of these a year. We ship out thousands of plants. We're nowhere near a big boy, but we are a Tennessee licensed nursery, and we do ship out thousands of plants. But you can just about guarantee somewhere somebody forgets to label a pepper plant or a tomato plant tray. Usually it's a whole tray that don't get done. Those we either give away for freebies to our local customers, and occasionally if somebody orders a big order online, we'll give them some freebies that way there. We have customers that order 50 and 100 plants at a time. I think our biggest order ever has been 150. But there's what we're looking for. Now, something I didn't mention. One of the reasons we're moving this also from this is not just so we don't have roots binding up, but it's also because this starter mix has no fertilizer in it, no nutrients, no nothing. So it's either up pot it or start fertilizing it. And it's already got, as you saw, root growth that's real nice. So it's time to up pot so it can get its fertilizer. A plant is just like us. It's got to have nutrients. You can live on Big Macs, just not well. And this pepper plant can survive in this starter tray for a while, but it won't do well. So we want to feed it well so that it can feed us well later. So you understand? So let's move our blended lemon back there. And now, the blended lemon, we had 15 of. So that's 1, 2, 3, basically 4 rolls, we'll have 1 empty spot in the roll. So we'll move on to the next to last roll. Pull us a pot out. Shake it down a little bit more dirt in there. Not that much. Now we like these, one, because it's usually about the right size for us when we transplant. Now tomatoes, one size bigger for us. Now the ones we ship in this size because you let them get much bigger, you can't hardly ship them. We got specialty plant shippers that we started using that make this easier, and 3 of these will fit in one. We got some singles also, but 3 of these will fit in one, so we can fit 3 of them in a melting box. So, again, finger in the middle, open that up a little bit, and let's move to our ahi val. So, a little bit less root growth, but still a lot. And we will push that in. Make sure we put the right tag in. Put it in right there. Now, we'll see if I can pull this tray up so you can see, well, I don't know either. See if we got roots growing out the bottom. And we do. I don't know if you can see that from over there, but right here, I've got roots growing out. And down here, I got several with roots growing out. And up here's another one with roots growing out. See? So, that's a good sign of it was time to move. Now, I have to move them also because I need space in my germination station to start tomatoes. We start the hot peppers earlier than the tomatoes, because they take a little longer. Do one more here, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about greenhouse peppers. Now, peppers, people a lot of times use generic term when they talk about planting peppers. But you can't, because a sweet pepper and a hot pepper in general are 2 different size plants. And that also applies on a sweet pepper as to what type of sweet pepper. A bell pepper plant will get huge. In general, a hot pepper doesn't. But I say in general, because we grow like a Sugar Rush peach, ahi lemon drop, and some of the jalapeno varieties, our brown jalapenos and our Degato jalapenos, or Degato. They get massive. I mean, I'm talking 3 foot across, 3.5, 4 foot tall. And if we had a longer growing season, they would probably sustain 5 foot tall, but our growing season don't work for that. The days start getting shorter, and then you slow down your growth. So that's what you got to be prepared for. So our spacing for our greenhouse is roughly a 2x2 spacing, and we do that for tomatoes and peppers. I wish I had something here to show you, but I don't. But we do a staggered spacing. I'm going to raise you back up here so you can see me while I work. We do a staggered spacing. So what we do on the staggered spacing is, it's 2 foot, we do a double roll, so it's 2 rolls in one. Roughly a 30-inch bed, 36-inch bed will work too, but a 30-inch bed. And we do 2 foot between every plant in this row. And then in the other part of that double roll, we stagger it. So instead of a plant straight across from the one, we will go in the middle of the two. So it'll be 2 foot from this plant to this plant diagonally, and 2 foot from this plant to this plant diagonally. You follow that chart all the way down, it gives you even spacing. All the plants have 2 foot in between, and you gain a little bit of space in your greenhouse. Works in your garden too. If you got plenty of room in your garden, it's not a big deal. Inside your greenhouse or high tunnel, that becomes a big deal because that space is worth a lot of money. It's like running an automotive repair business, which we do also. That automotive repair business, that lift needs to generate income in order to justify it. And it's the same thing for your greenhouse, especially if you're heating it. If you're heating that greenhouse, the numbers get even bigger. You need to justify that expense. And we will heat early on and late season. Like right now, we're still growing hot peppers in our greenhouse. And so we're heating. We don't have to heat during the day, but we have to heat at night. We try to maintain around 48 degrees in there. 55 probably would be more ideal, but Bill goes way up to maintain 55, especially on these 25 degree nights. During the day, as long as it's not cloud cover, it gets plenty hot in there. That usually most days in the winter, the automatic vents open up to ventilate inside the greenhouse. So I guess I could show you also, before we finish that, and I forget, I meant to do this. These trays we use have a hole for each of these pots to set in so they don't slide around and kick over and fall over. So you don't end up with broke pepper and tomato plants. There's nothing worse than babying a plant all season long to kill it right before you put it in the ground. Dragon's breath, for instance, that's a new one for us this year. Fairly sought after plant, and I only had 3 seeds. All 3 germinated, thank God. And so now it's my job to take care of those 3 seeds until they go in the ground. I won't be offering any of the Dragon's Breath plants for sale this year. We hope to save some seeds from our Dragon's Breath this year, and so we can have seeds available next season for people, or late this season for someone that grows in the winter. We grow in the winter. But anyway, greenhouse production of your peppers, you can tomatoes you can do usually 1 or 2 stems. We usually do 1. 2 stems is fine. So you prune it to 2 stems. With like a bell pepper in the greenhouse, you will prune that to anywhere from 1 to 4 stems. Most people do 2 to 4 because you want to keep it from growing as far up as it wants to and keep it a little bit more compact. And you'll tie those off to strings similar to what you would a tomato. The only difference is you won't lower and lean a bell pepper. It'll never make it to that 10-foot sky or 12 foot, depending on what the height is in your greenhouse, or 16 foot. I think ours is around 10 or 12 feet in the middle. I'm not sure. Our regular greenhouse is actually around 10 feet in the middle, and then it slopes down on the sides. In our small greenhouses, we got a greenhouse 1 and 2, and those slope down on the sides, and the sides are only about 6 feet. So at the walls we're 6 feet, and in the middle we're right around 9, 10 feet, something like that. So obviously we try to grow the tomatoes in the middle and the peppers on the outside edge. This year we'll start a video series on that too. We are working with a new greenhouse that will be hopefully starting to set up here in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, I hope you learned something today. If you got any questions, comment below. We always try to answer all questions. And be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that like button and subscribe. It really makes a difference to us to know that you care about what we're doing. That's how we know whether to continue this type of video for you or to look at a different platform. We want to share with you what we're doing, but there's no need to share it if you care less. So anyway, thank you for watching today. God bless and have a wonderful day.